Okay, so when I say the name Athena, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's wisdom, right? You think of the owl, the brilliant strategist, the patron of heroes. And look, you're not wrong, but that's barely scratching the surface. The real Athena? Well, she's a whole lot more complex and way more interesting. She's this incredible mix of a sage and a schemer, a protector and a downright formidable warrior. You know, even the great philosopher Plato hinted at this deeper story. With this quote, he's talking about a legendary showdown, a high-stakes contest between gods. And this contest, it wasn't just about naming one of the world's greatest cities. It was about defining the very soul of the goddess who would go on to win it. Which, of course, brings us to the famous foundational myth of Athens. And let's be clear, this was no simple ribbon-cutting ceremony. This was a full-on divine competition. We're talking about two of the most powerful gods on Olympus fighting for the ultimate prize, becoming the patron of this incredible new city. So in this corner, you've got Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy. And in the other corner, her powerful uncle Poseidon, the god of the sea, earthquakes, the whole shebang. Now, both of them felt they had a claim on the city, and Zeus, seeing this was about to escalate into a massive, world-breaking fight, stepped in and said, "All right, let's settle this with a contest." All right, so here's the play-by-play. Poseidon's up first. He goes for the big, flashy move, slams his trident into the rock of the Acropolis, and bam, a spring of water shoots out. Pretty impressive, right? Well, there was a huge catch. It was salt water. Totally useless. Then it's Athena's turn. She does something completely different. No flash, no drama. She just calmly kneels and plants an olive tree, and in an instant it grows, offering food, oil for lamps, wood for building. The judge, this mythical half-serpent king named Cecrops, well, for him, it was a no-brainer. And see, that's the key right there. Poseidon's gift was a spectacle. Athena's gift, that was a future. It was a whole system for survival and prosperity, the very blueprint for civilization. So naturally, the city gets named Athens in her honor. And Poseidon? Yeah, he didn't take it well. Threw a classic god-level tantrum and flooded the plains. Or so the story goes. But hey, the deal was done. But here's the thing. That famous story, as great as it is, really just scratches the surface. It makes you ask a much deeper question about the kind of wisdom we're really talking about with Athena. I mean, was it all just about good, practical advice and clever inventions? Or was there something else going on? Something a little more sneaky? To really get Athena, you have to understand this ancient Greek concept called metis. And this is not just wisdom. Think of it more like a two-sided coin. On one side, you have that thoughtful, sage counsel, but on the other side, you've got cunning, trickery, and a kind of deceptive intelligence. It's knowing the right path, but also being willing to use some serious guile to get everyone on it. And where does she get this from? Well, it all goes back to her absolutely wild birth story. And trust me, this story does not disappoint. Zeus's first wife was a Titaness, actually named, you guessed it, Metis. So Zeus gets this prophecy. First kid, a daughter, no problem. Second kid, a son who's going to overthrow him. Not great. So Zeus does what any paranoid god king would do. He tricks Metis and swallows her whole. But, and this is a big but, she was already pregnant with Athena. Sometime later, Zeus gets this world-ending headache. He gets Hephaestus, the god of the forge, to literally crack his skull open. And out pops Athena, not a baby, mind you, a full-grown woman in complete battle armor. What an entrance. And this origin story perfectly explains her two sides. She literally comes from Zeus's head, so she gets all his kingly, strategic, big-picture wisdom. But her mother, Metis, the literal embodiment of cunning, is still inside him. So Athena inherits all of her mother's crafty, tricky, clever side, too. She's the perfect fusion of both. I mean, she's not even shy about it. In Homer's Odyssey, she finds her favorite mortal, the ultimate trickster Odysseus, and basically tells him, "You and me, we're the same. You're the best schemer among mortals, and I'm famous for it among the gods." She loves his craftiness because it's exactly what she values in herself. Now, this two-sided nature isn't just about wisdom. It plays a huge role in her approach to war. And you really see it when you put her side by side with her half-brother, the god of war himself, Ares. Here's the easiest way to think about it. Athena is the general in the war room planning 10 moves ahead. Eris, he's the screaming berserker on the battlefield, just pure rage and chaos. She's all about strategy, discipline, fighting for a purpose. He is all about bloodlust, carnage, the sheer violence of it all. Just look at their nicknames. She was called the City Protectress. He was the Stormer of Cities. Kind of tells you everything you need to know, right? So who do you think the ancient Greeks preferred? Yeah, it wasn't even a contest. Athena was revered everywhere. People saw her as the guardian of civilization itself. Ares? Almost nobody liked him. He had very few temples, and people basically saw him as this ugly, violent force of nature. For the Greeks, every time Athena beats Ares in the myths, and she does a lot, it was sending a clear message. Brains will always, always be brute force. But this isn't just some dusty old story. This whole dynamic, strategy versus chaos, planning versus panic, it's completely timeless. Athena represents a really powerful psychological archetype, a pattern of behavior, a way of thinking that we can still see in people all around us, maybe even in ourselves. You know the type of person I'm talking about. When things get crazy, they're the one who stays completely calm. They can walk into a total disaster and, just like that, see the path forward. They're amazing problem solvers, and they are fiercely loyal protectors of the people and causes they believe in. That's the Athena archetype at its very best. Of course, there's always a flip side, a shadow side. That intense focus can sometimes make them seem cold or emotionally distant. That brilliant intellect can turn into straight-up arrogance. And sometimes they fall so in love with their perfect plan that they forget about the messy, unpredictable human beings the plan is actually supposed to be for. And today, you see this archetype everywhere. You see it in the mentor, that wise teacher who guides you just like she guided Odysseus. You see it in the C-suite strategist, the person who sees the entire chessboard of an industry. It's the innovator, the engineer, the architect who builds elegant solutions out of chaos. And it's the protector, the lawyer, the activist who uses their sharp mind to defend what's right. So let's pull all these pieces together. The contest for Athens, her two faces of wisdom, the clash with Ares, this modern archetype. What does it all boil down to? What is Athena really about? It's this. Athena represents the triumph of the well-thought-out plan over the impulsive act. She is the victory of the blueprint over brute force. She is order triumphing over chaos. She is the intellect that doesn't just build a civilization, but holds it all together. And that leaves me with one last question for you. When you're up against it, when you're facing a real challenge, which Athena shows up for you? Is it the calm, wise sage, the one offering steady counsel? Or is it the cunning strategist looking for that clever angle, that art of intrigue that's going to get you the win? Because maybe true wisdom is knowing how to be both.